Right, we'll move on to item 10, the resource recovery bi-monthly report for January and February. And I think we've got Ross Trotter. Thank you, Ross. I'll leave it to you to introduce the item and then we'll open it up for any questions.
So we don't have Ross here. We've got Rowan leading this.
No, I'm online, if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. The resource recovery bi-monthly report for January, February. The key points in this report, number one is the curbside collections. They have been steady over this period with the volumes. We're still seeing slightly higher than average organics material coming through. That's due to the wetter and the longer than usual summer season, although it is just starting to taper off now. We have seen impacts of the COVID-19 cases with the collection truck driver availability. We have introduced a number of measures already to make sure that the collections continue as much as possible uninterrupted, which we have been able to achieve. We've only had to work the one Saturday, so we've extended the collection hours and also reduced some of the non-essential services performed by the contractor, which things like non-essential bin repairs. We've also been able to reduce the traffic restrictions, and that allows trucks to collect on certain roads for a longer period, which has been enabled, but there's been fewer vehicles on the road, which has allowed this to take place. We've also monitoring on a daily basis our processing facilities, so the materials recovery facility where your yellow wheelie bin goes. Also very, very affected by COVID, with up to 35% of their staff away. So we're monitoring that on a day-to-day basis to ensure that that processing facility can remain operating. Moving on to the organics processing plant, we have an options report on the future of the organics project that's been deferred until the 28th of April. That's to allow us more time to ensure all options are fully assessed before presenting to Council. That report will be in the public, noting that some of the commercially sensitive information in the independent investigation report and feasibility report will be redacted. The Bonds Bay works on the removal material to Cape Valley is continuing. There's been a lot more volume discovered in the landfill. It was originally estimated 3,600 tonnes, and we are now estimating about 6,500 tonnes, so significantly more. The initial scoping and assessment was, in terms of the area, was pretty much right. What we've found is there's been pockets or pits, if you like, of material which is quite deep, which is added to the volume. So we're taking that on board for assessment of other works, other landfill work that we have coming up, and looking at factoring in a larger contingency for the worst case scenarios, because we really just don't know what we're going to find once we start digging. Unfortunately, it's not a gold mine where the more you dig, the better it is. The more you dig and the more you find, the worse it is. We've got a consultation document out from central government on transforming recycling in the Aotearoa. So this consultation opened on the 13th of March through to the 8th of May. Three main areas in the proposal. One is a container return scheme that incentivises the return of empty beverage containers for recycling. The second key proposal is around improvements to curbside recycling. and that includes a proposal to standardise the materials which go into your recycling bins across New Zealand, just to avoid some of the confusion that may be from different TAs having different rules. And the third one is the separation of scrap food material from the general waste, and that's for all businesses, all commercial businesses. So we're putting together a council submission on that. That's important consultation, and also there'll be a submission from the Canterbury Meal Forum as well. Happy to take any questions. I think Rowan's in the chambers there. I've got some of my team on online as well. Thank you.
Is it right if I ask a question, Pauline?
No, sorry, I was on mute. Yes, you can in a minute. Ross, when you talked about standardising curbside recycling, and you talked about it's a question of standardising so people know what goes in what bin quite clearly across the country. Is that going to also be standardising colours of bins?
Yeah, there's already been some work done on that, and there is agreement on what colour lids should be for what items. So that is already an agreed standard. So yeah, that will definitely form part of any new work that's done by central government.
So does that mean that we could be looking at changing the colours of our lids?
No, we are consistent with what the standard is. So no, we won't be having to change the colour of our lids.
Oh, that's interesting. That's good. Okay, so now was that you, Phil?
Yeah. Thanks, Ross, for that. Just
Phil and then Jimmy. Yep.
Sorry. Thanks, Ross. Just a question. As far as picking up bins and how sometimes we have people who are not getting them picked up at the right time. Did I hear that we're encouraging people to perhaps, you don't have to put your bin out every week if it's not full? Don't think for a minute that I'm thinking red bins, I'm just thinking the yellow ones and the green ones. They don't have to go out because some people will be thinking, oh, if it's only quarter full, I have to put it out. But are we encouraging people to, on say green or yellow, to make sure it's a bit fuller, because every time a truck picks up a quarter of a bin, it's taking the same amount of time as a full bin? You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, and I probably should have mentioned that in one of our measures to relieve pressure off the drivers, is that we have put communications out exactly along those lines, that if your bin isn't full and you can hold off to the next collection cycle, then if you could not put it out till then, and that's really to ensure that the driver resource that the contractor has is being the most efficient as we can. So in other words, we're able to get around as many collections as we can, and if the bin's not full, then and you can hold on to the next collection, just pop it out the next collection cycle.
Thank you, Ross.
That's great. Jimmy, then Yanni.
Okay, yeah, just quickly, two questions. The first one regarding to a curbside collection. Based on the staff, the kind of discussion with those contractors, particularly regarding to some of the further measurement. One of the bullet point is request the residents hold of the presenting the bins if less than half full of, and they can wait until next collection. Because quite a few the residents, my area particularly emphasize, they pay the rates, also particularly regarding to those red bin, if less than half, maybe they need to waiting for another 2 weeks, probably there the bin, the volume is not sufficient. They still have this concern. I'm not sure how to mitigate this effect.
Yeah, look, it really is messaging and around it is the impact of COVID. We understand that people have paid for that service and are entitled to that service. And we're not saying don't do it. We're just saying that if you are in a position where you feel that you can hold off putting off your bin, that would be greatly appreciated at this time to ensure that we can, obviously the real focus on us is to ensure that in particular rubbish is taken away in a timely manner. So that is the message, that if you can, great. If you don't want to or you can't, you're entitled to put your bin out.
Okay, thank you. Second question is, yeah. Second question is regarding the organic processing plant, because this not only, in the probably in East, the issue, but it's the citywide issue, particularly in the Southwest area, because still my area, the community resident particularly concerned if there is the option to shift to the Southwest area. So whether this the meeting, particular until 28 April, probably I think is the finance and the performance the committee meeting, whether it's open the meeting, because the people community particular concern this issue, or it's a PX meeting.
No, the main report will be in the public, and there will be an attached an independent report on the investigation feasibility, which may have some of the commercially sensitive information redacted out of it. But the main report will be in the public.
Okay, so you mean the main report, the location, possible location or favorite location will be defined clearly in which location. Am I right?
That'll come through in the report on the 28th, Councillor.
Yeah, that's an open meeting.
Yes, it will be an open meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yanni.
Thank you. I just wanted to check two things. One is, how is the app going in terms of notifying people if their bin collection's been missed? But is there a way that people can be told, the contractor hasn't been down this street?
Yeah, absolutely. It can work in areas, so we can target. We know what routes ahead of time are likely to be, if they're affected by not being able to be collected. The contractor leaves the organics to last because that's probably the least impacted, and that would be endeavoured to be picked up the next day. But yeah, we can push that messaging out through the app.
Have we been doing that? It's just that I've seen on some of the social media and some of the local residents groups that people are getting quite confused over when the collection's coming and when it's not.
Yeah, look, of late we haven't had to change the collections or miss due to the driver restrictions. So we haven't.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
we haven't been putting too much messaging out. If we are in doubt, we will go to a wider area than just the area that we don't think will get collected. So hopefully everyone who's on the app will get the messaging.
And obviously the companies being sold that we have contracts with. So obviously we'll just be keeping a watching brief to see what changes. Like, are there any changes that we're aware of that could be as a consequence of that?
Yeah, we've been advised it's business as usual from the contractor. The company that has bought them do have interests in the waste sector, so we see that as potentially being an advantage. But what we've been informed, there's no staff changes and business as usual.
Right. Okay. And just sorry, the final question is just to confirm, the 28th of April, that date is still fixed.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Thanks, Yanni. I can't see any other questions. No more hands up. So can I have a mover for this report, please? I'd like to move it, Sarah, and seconded by Jimmy. Is there any debate on it or any discussion? No? All right. And thank you, Ross, for the report, and Lynette. And I particularly do like the pictures you always put in these. They're really good. Nice to see what's going on. So I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye or wave. And anyone opposed? So that is carried. Thank you. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our final